One day, an atheist asked me 3 questions. He said that they are unanswered questions in your religion. Thus, you refute the validity of your beliefs about the existence of God and all that the religion has brought. So I told him, "And what are these 3 questions? Perhaps you will find answers to them with me." He said, "Okay. Here are the questions and I hope you can answer them convincingly and understandably, not such shallow answers that do not correspond to the depth of these questions." Then he began to ask those 3 questions to me. It was as follows. He said, "How do you say that God knows more than the angels, while you yourselves say that the angels' counsel is on God, not to make a successor on earth, where they will shed blood and spoil the earth?" Were correct. Also, how did the angels know that there are creatures that contain blood, while Adam was not created at this time? His second question was, if the story of Noah and the sinking of the planet is true, and that great epic mentioned in your heavenly books is true, how did the creatures survive and life return to what it was? Then he added some description that he knows about the story. As for his third question, how do you justify the tragedies and torment that people are subjected to in this world? Is this considered from the alleged divine justice you have? While there will be a supposed punishment and reward in the hereafter, as you claim. I say to him, listen to the wise, until you get the answer. But you must bear his frankness. It is not easy for you. Then the wise began to talk. Listen, son. From your words this and from words similar in meaning from others who have almost the same thought, there is an important thing that I would like to tell you about before I answer you or discuss what you have raised. It turns out that there is a big difference between the perspective of a Muslim believer and the perspective of an atheist or infidel, and the angle in which each of them understands things and all events in general. This difference seems to me to stem from a difference in souls and feelings, and not a difference in arithmetic and logic. You will find that a Muslim always has deep feelings and emotions. It is associated with a great God. Deep feelings of attachment and love and return to him. While the view of an infidel or an atheist, you always find it stems from completely different feelings and emotions, reflecting an originally different metal and psyche, based on different amounts of hatred and stubbornness among them, mixed in a lake of arrogance and denial towards this great creator. So you find, for example, the believer when he hears in the Quran the saying of God Almighty, He forgives whom He wills and He punishes whom He wills. You find him filled with feelings of hope, contentment and certainty in the love and justice of the greatest Creator. Just as a son listens to his father saying to him, "I am your father, I do what I want." A good son never thinks, despite this statement, that his father will torture or kill him. On the contrary, he thinks that the matter will be good for him in the end, given what he knows and feels of his father's love for him. And the opposite is true with the prodigal son, the disobedient, immoral. You will find him discussing the matter from the perspective of hate. This is how the infidel is with God. You will find him discussing the matter with him as if he is an equal to him and there is no reference to him and he does not feel towards any affiliation and love. Give him something of safety or hope, and the alternative within him would be this hatred and ingratitude that I spoke of. It is nature, my friend, that the believer cannot change, nor can the unbeliever change it easily. This is how this is created, and this is how this is created. This is a psychology and that is another psychology. Therefore, you will always find the infidel when he searches, for example, in the Quran, you think that he is looking for answers to his questions. But in fact, he is not looking for answers. He is looking for, other than answers, and you think he is looking for evidence, proofs, and convictions. But in fact, he is looking for many things, except for evidence, proofs, and convictions. And you see him, if he finds evidence and proofs to the contrary of what he loves, and finds evidence of the truthfulness of the Quran and the greatness of God. You find it goes beyond the idea quickly, and move to another point as if he did not see it. He continues his search in a state of madness, hoping to find the thing he desires, not the thing he sees. And when he does not reach his goal in the end and finds the opposite, you find him starting to mental breakdown and psychological anger. And then resort to the alternative plan, to justify his disbelief. It is to begin to falsify the facts, to falsify matters, and to camouflage the truth with falsehood. As much as each one of them, of thinking, plan and malice. In fact, all his actions and words are contradictory. For example, when he hears from someone that there are aliens called so and so, he believes them right away. While if he heard from the Quran the same thing, and that there are extraterrestrial beings called angels, never believe this. And if he heard from someone that there are parallel universes and cosmic dimensions unknown or perceived, believe them right away too. While if he heard the same thing from the Quran, and that there are unknown worlds, it is unknown creatures, never believe this. If he heard from someone the planet was once upon a time completely covered with ice, immediately believe. While if he heard from the Quran the same thing, and he heard that the same planet was once covered with water, he never believes in this. But the most amazing thing, that if he heard someone say to him that his grandfather was a fish or some kind of monkey, believe this bullshit. Did you notice anything, son? I'll tell you. He believes and lies the same, only according to the difference of the source who listens to it. I hope you understand now that the difference between a believer and an unbeliever, not in logic and arithmetic, but in the psychological. This was an indispensable introduction, to be frank with you, before I proceed to clarify what you mentioned in your question. Now let's talk about what came in your questions. With regard to the angels and the news of the caliph that will be on the earth and that blood, and how will it flow? The question is actually yours. How did you know that the earth did not have any creatures that were made of blood, flesh, and bone before Adam? Were there not known creatures similar in their physical nature to what you are in terms of blood and organs, in the general concept? And where did you come from this certainty that the angels, which are the messengers of God in the great universe, they do not know anything about the life sciences and other creatures of the great Creator, whether it was known to you or unknown to you? And where did you come from that God Almighty saying, I know what you do not know, means that a person will not kill one another? How did you interpret it like this? All of these questions are an answer in and of themselves to your misunderstanding, appreciation, and even your feeling towards the Creator. In fact, you are the one who thinks that it is just a parliament and members consulting with each other, equal in knowledge, destiny, and being. This is your mistake. And I say it frankly, this is your wish, no more. The intent is to make it ridiculous and make it silly. As for the story of Noah, or what I called the epic, the same thing is repeated many times. And you bring numbers and statistics that you know very well are from imagination and assumptions. And you know very well that covering part or even all of the cup with fresh water, less dangerous and exterminate than the so-called first ice age you believe in. that happened after this massive collision between this famous asteroid with Earth. And less dangerous to life than those gases, radiation, and fire that covered the planet after it. And you know that the survival of many creatures is very possible, so what if you compare that to just covering the planet with fresh water? And you know that many living things can survive extermination to simply start a new life. For example, birds of all kinds. They will not have much problem surviving in these conditions and can live on the surface of the water and stand on a lot of floating debris. And even feed on many living or dead organisms on the surface of that water. Until the flood ends. And you know that all marine, river, or amphibious organisms, or that inhabit mud or sulfur caves in the depths of the ocean, and other species are able to live in these conditions and for much longer periods than the flood period. The pairs that Noah collected. No one knows exactly how many and what they are. In the end, it was the implementation of the command of the Creator. It does not mean that it is the main reason for saving environmental life. There is a lot the Creator can do to save that life. Or even changing it and changing its shape away from Noah himself, as he usually does before Noah and simply after him. As for your personal assessments about this torment in this world and this in the hereafter, you will find that for the 1000th time you repeat the same phrases. Like the rest of the atheists. And always interfere in the decision of the Creator and his divorce and knowledge and how to manage this great universe. You always see that you have a plan and an opinion that is more correct, comprehensive, and knowledgeable than what the Creator does. Although you know that you are unable to properly and safely manage a single forest or wilderness, and you are unable to manage a single astronomical system, if we assume its independence from the rest of the one cosmic system. Even you know that you are incapable of managing your own personal biological system, the very body you use to deny who created it. And learn well from what you know. The Creator may destroy a people who are unbelievers or even believers. And it may exterminate whole lives and vast forests full of life, of all kinds. Rather, you know that the earth has gone through eras of annihilation and restoration, and this is how God disposes of its universe as He wills. Add to all this, that God informs you and tells me, that this life on earth does not really mean anything. And that the afterlife is what is meant and it is the truth. Even believers can be subjected to extermination, murder, and the calamities of this world. Just like the unbelievers. And even infidels can live in bliss in this world. That is, it is not a measure at all. For balancing, comparison, or logical construction. For how the Creator behaves in His universe. Thus, you can see things from the perspective and angle of the believer. That I told you about. My son, you must know that your belief or any of your beliefs or actions, it will not change anything about God's plan or His being the great. Do you know why? Because when you compare yourself to Him, then you are nothing.